I'm Amelia Coleman, your head of news here at Raw, and one of your co-hosts for this evening.
And I am Seth Bristow, one of the station managers here at Raw, and I'll be helping Amelia cover the big decision tonight.
As well as watching our live stream on the Raw Visuals YouTube channel, you can follow along on the Piazza big screen, or stay updated via our socials. You can look at the updates from Raw at Raw 12:51am on Instagram, or else keep up to date via the SU Instagram at Warwick SU Official.
But before all that, what actually are the SU Spring Officer elections? And why should Warwick students follow our live coverage this evening?
What is the big decision? Every year, Warwick Student Union hosts the Spring Officer elections in March. These elections give the student body the opportunity to elect 7 full-time and 7 part-time officers to represent them in the academic year ahead.
These elections give the student body the opportunity to elect 7 full-time and 7 part-time officers to represent them in the academic year ahead. These officers are elected using the STV system to make sure that everyone's views can be best represented.
Over the past week, candidates have been campaigning fiercely for your votes, with banners and campaign flyers being found all over campus, and campaign teams doing all they can to win votes.
Important topics this campaign season have included women's safety, demilitarisation, cost of clubs and societies, and SU transparency.
Stalls hosted by Democracy Assistants have filled the piazza, bearing free gummy bears, SU water bottles, and stickers for all those who get involved.
And potentially, one of Raw's very own has spent most of the week dressed up as a democracy duck too.
SU Election Week celebrates the best of student voice at Warwick and allows us all to have a say on the future of our union, from what our SU outlets serve to lobbying the university to change their approach to examinations and the cost of bus travel. Your SU officers have the power to push for the change you want to see on campus.
In the university's 60th year, it's been more important than ever to get voting and choose the next generation of SU leadership. This evening, all the votes have been counted and Raw will bring you the live results.
Who will make up your Warwick SU officer team for the 2025-2026 academic year?
Stay tuned to find out.
As stated in the VT, after what has been a whirlwind of a week, the campaigns are over. The votes have been counted, and tonight we will be announcing the part-time and the full-time officers who will be representing Warwick students in the 2025 to 2026 academic year.
So, let's announce the first group of those representatives, starting with the part-time officers. Your part-time officers will represent, raise awareness and run campaigns within the Students' Union, as well as being full voting members of the Student Council.
Tonight, we are announcing the results of 7 part-time officers, with the first to be announced tonight being the Disabled Students Officer.
This officer will represent all self-defining disabled students on campus, raise awareness of issues faced by disabled students, and lobby the university and SU for change to this effect.
It's now time to announce your new Disabled Students Officers. And we've got a very dramatic, feel a little bit like we're at the Oscars. Yeah. We've got envelopes this year. And once I open this up, your winner is Ruby Deakin and Harriet Paget. Congratulations.
Hi guys, thank you so much for voting to elect us. We're really looking forward to being part of your new PTO team next year. We've already got some ideas to get plans in motion before we start in September, so yeah, we're ready.
Yeah, we're excited to work with different parts of the university overall to kind of make connections and improve communication, and it's going to be really exciting, so thank you.
Amazing. Thank you.
A huge congratulations to Ruby and Harriet there. The next part-time officer we will be announcing will be the women's officer. But before that, we have time to hear more about an SU campaign that has been spearheaded by successive women's officers over the past few years.
Thanks Amelia and Seth. I'm Odette, Raw News Deputy. Today I'm joined by 2 wonderful guests to discuss the SU's End Period Poverty campaign. If you would like to introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Nancy and I'm one of the ambassadors for Ending Period Poverty. I'm Naomi, I'm the current Welfare and Campaigns Officer, and I was Women's Officer in 2021.
So what is the SU's End Period Poverty campaign?
So the Ending Period Poverty campaign tries to bridge the gap between all students and staff who experience a period every single month. This is because there are so many people who are unable to afford or access these products due to the sheer cost, and so we want to make them more accessible.
Are you proud of the extent to which the campaign has grown over recent years?
Absolutely we are. Naomi can tell you exactly how much she has worked on how to create this a bigger and better campaign every single year.
Yeah, for sure. When I started, it was literally just me carrying tampons around on campus. We only provided tampons and pads in 6 different bathrooms, and we had a super limited budget. I think I only applied for £2,000 in the first year, and then after I finished as Women's Officer and I took over, she grew the campaign massively, and then I've kind of taken it back under my control now as Welfare and Campaigns. So we fund bathroom refilling in 30 different bathrooms. We have a group of 25 ambassadors that we didn't have nearly as many before, and we're also looking at expanding with sustainable products and getting the university to fund it as well.
Do you think there should be more discussion around period poverty?
Yeah, 100%. I'm always going to say that. I think everyone knows that I'm going to talk about periods completely unashamedly, because the thing is that period poverty is a huge issue that people don't talk about it. And if people don't talk about periods already to start off with, they're not going to talk about period poverty. But if you've got 50% of your students who every month are in extreme pain, are potentially scared of going to lectures, are scared of going to sports things because they can't afford products and they're worried of leaking through their genes, they're worried that people will see them, that there'll be loads of stigma, that's massively affecting their success, and that's also massively affecting gender inequality at university. So if we don't talk about it, no one's going to realise that that's a thing, and then no one's going to do anything to address it.
Exactly, so we really want to break those stigmas.
And finally, how can people support the campaign?
I think the biggest way people can support the campaign is to really kind of understand what our work is and just really spread the word. For example, we had Shagfest recently and we had a massive campaign, and our aim was to try and get people who don't actually experience periods to kind of hold on to their products and the period products that we create and packs in their own bags and hand them out if a friend needed them, for example.
Yeah, and the biggest thing we have at the moment is an End Period Poverty pledge, which societies and sports clubs can sign up to make sure that they're committed to ending period poverty in their society and sports club and provide free period products.
So thank you so much for taking the time to be here. I'll hand back over to Amelia and Seth.
Okay.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for that, Odette. It's so amazing to hear about all the work that is being done on campus, especially around hugely important topics such as ending period poverty. And that is just one of the many amazing campaigns that the SU has run this year and over the past year or two, from things like Pressure Drop to support students' mental health, to the End Period Poverty campaign, to talking more about classism. There is so much the SU has done to support and be there for underrepresented and often overlooked causes within the university to community.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that, it is now time to announce this year's Women's Officer. They are responsible for representing all self-defining female students and for raising awareness of and addressing issues faced by female students in the SU and university. They are also at the forefront of the SU's anti-sexism campaigning.
It's now time to announce your Women's Officer for the next academic year. And we've got another dramatic envelope reveal. We're delighted to announce your new Women's Officer is Katie Todd.
Hi everyone, it's an honour to be elected as your Women's Officer. I just want to say a massive thank you to my campaign manager Luna, to everyone who's helped me campaign this week, to anyone who's held the board or had a look at my Instagram. I really appreciate it. To all the other candidates that ran, they put up a really good fight and it was a really good race. Thank you for that. And to everyone that's voted, I know it's been a massive turnout this year and it's been really important for me as part of my campaign to make sure as many women's voices are heard as possible, and getting as many votes as possible has been really good at achieving that. I hope I can fulfil my pledges to make this campus a safer place for women, and thank you for electing me.
Thank you so much, Katie. The Women's Officer is such an important role on campus, and it was brilliant to hear about all the different issues that were raised through examples, things like SU question time, where we had women's officers there, really shedding light, everyone that ran, on some of the really important, issues that affect female identifying students on campus. And it was really brilliant to hear about those.
Yeah, absolutely. And a massive congratulations to Katie for winning the election for this very important role. Next, we have the Widening Participation Officer. They represent all students from Widening participation backgrounds. As part of the role, the WP officer co-chairs the university's Widening Participation Student Advisory Group and becomes an executive member of the Widening Participation Students Association.
And we are delighted to announce that your new Widening Participation Officer is it's Siham Hassan. Hopefully they will be with us in just a minute to come and give a speech, potentially.
But in the meantime, again, congratulations to Siam for winning that election for the Widening Participation Officer role.
But we're going to have a slight pause on that speech, and for now, we are going to move on to our next part-time officer for the SU.
The next officer that we are announcing today is for the position of Environment and Ethics Officer. This officer is responsible for promoting a more ethical and sustainable students' union and university. They will do this by promoting net zero on campus and feeding back to relevant SU committees, including the Student Council.
This is such an important role here at Warwick, with so many new sustainability initiatives cropping up in the last year alone. For example, the most recent Thrift Thursdays, which is doing amazing work on campus to promote sustainable initiatives. But for now, it is time to announce Warwick SU's new Environment and Ethics Officer. And if I can get into this envelope, I'll be able to tell you who that is very shortly. The winner of the SU part-time officer election for Environment and Ethics Officer is the wonderful Helena Ratcliffe.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for voting for me. Thank you to all my fabulous campaign team who I dragged out every morning to help me leaflet. I'm really excited to take on this role next year, working with other part-time and full-time officers, and I really hope I can make true, tangible change to sustainability on campus. As well as this, I really hope I can represent students, fight for their wants, especially in terms of ethical investments, and holding the university to account to what the students truly want in this position. Some of my manifesto pledges I aim to implement include food waste bins on campus, which I think is really important, fighting for a sustainable future, and increasing Warwick's rankings in the sustainability index as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, well done to Helena for winning her election for Environment and Ethics Officer. Now, before we announce the SU's new LGBTQUA+ officer, we're going to take a moment to catch up with two voices at the forefront of LGBTQ+ activism on campus, the wonderful Harry and Jasper from Plan.
Hi, I'm Kenzie, Station Manager here at Raw, and today I'm joined with Harry and Jasper to discuss what Plan Society have been up to. So, firstly, congratulations on Plan just winning Society of the Year at the National Student Pride Awards. What do you think makes Plan so special?
I mean, I was there when they gave the speech for giving me award, and they talked about Queer Careers series, which I helped run in term 1, but also Planorama and the podcast, which Jasper had a massive hand in this year. So there's some really unique things I think that we've got going on. So.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's just such a wonderful society which aims to platform and celebrate LGBTQ+ voices in whatever it does, be it its events, its socials, or its creative output, with the podcast and the magazine, for instance.
And Jasper, you just won Warwick Drag Race. Congratulations for that.
I did, thank you.
So what was that experience like?
It was amazing. It was so much fun. I loved it, and honestly, yeah, if I ever need a bit of confidence in life, I'll channel my inner on your marks, and yeah, I'll keep her in my head. Yeah.
So, what do you think are the big issues that LGBT students want their new LGBT officer to focus on in the SU in the year ahead? It's a big question.
Big question. Yes.
I guess like visibility, making sure like that it's not just kind of Pride Month that we see like LGBT events going on, but like all throughout the year.
Yeah, and I'd probably say the same as well, and I guess making sure all students continue to feel supported and safe, particularly trans students as well, with the current discourse, I guess, going on. Yeah, just making sure that there's a space for everybody and everybody feels safe and welcome.
And so what is Plan up to next term, and are you looking forward to Warwick Student Pride?
I mean, definitely. I mean, Student Pride is always such a big thing to look forward to. Last year it was absolutely amazing, and I hope I'm not sure what we've got planned this year, but I'm very excited to see how we can get even bigger and better. For me, in terms of plan, we've got some more exciting podcast episodes coming up, and I don't know what else we've got.
I mean, honestly, a lot of studying.
We've
got a wide array of degrees and plans. So like, I think last year in term 3, it was mostly just like study sessions all together. We're all locked in.
Well, thank you both for coming to talk to us, and I guess we better hand it back over to Amelia and Seth to find out who the next LGBTQIA+ officer is going to be.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Kenzie. And once again, a massive thank you to Jasper and Harry for making time to be here with us today. It's always great to hear about what different societies on campus are up to. And Plan is such an active society that does so much important work in representing the interests and talents of LGBTQ+ students.
Absolutely. It is an incredibly important role, and we are going to get right to announcing it now. They will be the next officer we are going to announce is, of course, the LGBTQIA+ officer. They will be responsible for representing all self-defining LGBTQIA+ students by helping raise awareness for issues faced by this community and lobbying the Students' Union and university for change to this effect. They will also be responsible for planning awareness events and campaigns, most notably during Pride Week at Warwick, as we heard from Jasper.
It's now time for another envelope, and we will be announcing your new LGBTQIA+ officer for the coming academic year at Warwick Students' Union. And the winners are Jessie Yu and Matty Oki.
Okay. Thank you so much for voting us in for LGBTQIA+ officer. It's such an honour to be elected to this office, and we know that we'll do everything we can to improve the experiences of queer students on campus. We're excited for this challenge and opportunity to represent our community, and thank you to everyone who helped us run our campaign.
Yeah, thank you so much for voting for us. We'll be committed to this role and try our best to improve the welfare of LGBTQIA+ students on campus.
That was so brilliant. Thank you so much for that speech, and it will be so exciting to see all you achieve in the year ahead.
Yes, thank you, Matty and Jessie, for that speech there, and congratulations once again on winning your election. Let's move on to the trans student officer. They will represent all self-defining trans students here at the University of Warwick. They ensure the SU is addressing the needs of trans students and raising awareness of the issues that trans students face amongst the university community whilst lobbying for change.
It is now time to announce who has won this post for the next year, and it's such an important and influential position to hold. Your next trans student officer is Lillian Pipe.
Hi, I want to start by saying thank you to my community for voting me in. It's an honour to represent a community that needs a voice, I think, and I'm glad people view me as someone that can be that voice, and I very much so will take pride in this role, that it'll let me push back against transphobia in the university, in the SU. I've, in my manifesto, talked about wanting to work particularly on degendering. It's something that, well, where compared to misgendering that's talked about a lot, degendering doesn't get as much focus. It's the act of an abstention of pronouns or the use of they as opposed to someone's actual preferred pronouns. And I think it's something that needs to be addressed, something that the student union complies with a lot. Of course, there's many other issues, trans students, financial costs, heavily interlinked with trans students, as well as just other issues that I hope I can help out, and I'm sure I will. Thank you for electing me.
That was a really wonderful speech and raised so many important issues that affect a lot of students on campus.
Our final election for the roles of part-time officers is to announce the Ethnic Minorities Officer. They represent all self-defining ethnic minority students and are responsible for raising awareness of and addressing issues faced by ethnic minority students in the university and in the SU. They are also responsible for lobbying for change to improve the situation of these students. They are also take a forefronting role of the SU's anti-racism campaigning.
So it is now time to announce our final part-time officer, and this will be the person taking the role of the Ethnic Minorities Officer for the academic year ahead. And that person will be Rian Mehta.
Good evening. I'd like to express my gratitude for the electorate for voting me into this position. I'm really grateful that I have this opportunity to represent minority voices in the university, and I think it's a very important job, especially with the rise of fascism, racism, which we will cut down on, and alongside that, we have a rise of Islamophobia and anti-Semitism in societies, and I aim to hold societies accountable for this, and I'll do what is necessary to do that. I'll work with anti-racism groups on campus, and I'll help free Palestine. So, thank you.
Congratulations to all the newly elected part-time officers. It's amazing to see this slate of candidates succeed.
Yes, it was brilliant to have all of you up here today and to hear about your hopes and aspirations for the year ahead. We'll shortly be moving on to announcing the names of the full-time officers who will be leading your Students' Union for the next academic year. But for now, we have a short break to find out what the big issues were that were getting students out to the ballots, out to vote this election season. This election season, Raw News have been out and about asking Warwick students what are the big issues that matter to them.
Hi, I'm Penny inside of Curiosity, interviewing students this election season. So what issues do you think affect students this election season?
I think mainly for me, sports is definitely a big issue this election. Obviously with only being one candidate going, and the controversy surrounding that, I think that's important. Obviously coming from a sports society myself and having been voted in as vice president for next year, I want to go into next year with my exec and my club knowing that I have full confidence and support from the SU and the VP that's in charge.
I would probably just say general safety on campus, but then also general honesty from the university with different incidents that happen, because I feel like Warwick has a tendency to cover a lot of things up. Like I think in the past week or so an incident happened, there was literally nothing. Even the student report, you could find like literally absolutely no information, and so for those that are worried it can be quite a concern. So yeah, just making sure there's a little bit more honesty and transparency from the university towards the students.
I'd say maybe administration. I'm not sure if the SU is the one that does the administration, but especially with like exam seasons, like every year people are like upset about the fact that like the timetables come out really late and things like that. So just like general administration.
Yeah, perfect.
I think building the community and like
ways of building the community within the uni. So different events, different social events for people to go to. I think that's definitely a big, important thing.
Yeah, I think the stuff they did around Christmas was really nice, with like the light switch turning on and like the stuff for Chinese New Year. So maybe more stuff about that for like different cultural events and things that happen throughout the year, just so we can build more like awareness of all the different types of people that like are at uni, and sort of like, yeah, just get to know more about like life and diversity in general.
Well, I think there are a lot of issues that are relevant. I think perhaps the ones that I'm most aware of are the rising housing prices and basically the rising cost of living, I guess. And then there's also, I guess, the ongoing sustainability issues and the demilitarization issues that are still ongoing, as well as the making sure women are properly represented throughout campus and such.
Well, I think a lot of it is cost of living crisis, which is something that we've seen sort of across the UK. So yeah, I think it's about, you know, the affordability of the SU and making sure that everyday students can really have, you know, do loads of stuff within the SU while not having to worry about money.
So what made you want to vote in the SU?
I think, well, it doesn't take long, and I have a freedom of speech as a student at this university. Also, as a politics student, you know, I kind of have a right to express my sort of democracy, and I think, yeah, it's important too, because these decisions will affect everyone, including myself.
Yeah, perfect, thank you.
That's right, thank you.
To be completely honest, it was for the freebies, so the free hot drink and curiosity and the sweets, which I think is a good incentive, because at the end of the day, you want everyone to vote, even if they're voting for the freebies that you're given. So that was probably my main reason.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like, I've been looking at some of like the posters that have been around, but like I wouldn't have taken time out of my day to like go through and like vote if I didn't have the incentive to like get a free drink.
Perfect, guys, thank you.
Well, I decided to vote in the SU elections because what shapes my second year at uni is very important. You know, I want to have a good experience here, and it's definitely a very good way of letting your voice be heard and showing how you want your uni experience to be shaped.
Yeah, 100%. I think we have like the ability to, as Liam said, like shape our like the next few years while we're here. And I don't understand why you wouldn't want to take up that opportunity.
Well, there's a couple of factors that made me vote. I know a couple of people who are voting, and I know they do good work, so I'd like to see them elected. As well as, I think, also the fact that some candidates, I feel, need to have a voice, need to have their opinions expressed, because I've seen their manifestos and been quite good.
Perfect, thank you.
Well, I think for me it's about, you know, making sure my voice is heard, making sure that the SU represents me as a person, and I think, you know, so many people see that across the SU, you know, they want their voice to be heard. They want to make sure that they are represented within SU democracy, and so I think that's what voting is all about.
Perfect, thank you.
This is The Big Decision 2025, brought to you by Raw, and we are just waiting to announce your full-time SU officers 2025. Before we do that, we would like to inform you that the final result for the election for president will not be announced today due to a procedural irregularity. But for now, I wanted to ask Amelia, were you surprised by the responses you got from the student body?
No, I think first and foremost, a massive thank you to Penny, who went out and did those interviews. They were absolutely brilliant and really gave us a sense of the big issues that mattered to students. It was certainly very interesting to see the kind of diversity of opinion out there, talking to students this week, hearing how passionate they were about causes such as demilitarisation, about the cost of living, about women's safety, and about accessible education for all. And honestly, the democracy assistants, the SU teams, they have all been brilliant, out on the piazza going above and beyond to get people engaged in the SU, to get people voting. And I think a lot of students have really realised that the spring elections are a great way to make sure that your voice is heard and the people in the SU for the next academic year really represent the ideas and causes that you stand for.
Absolutely. It's always great to hear the issues that matter most to students. And for anyone who has just tuned in, you can follow tonight's coverage of The Big Decision via this live stream on YouTube, on the Piazza big screen, or at Raw 12:51 AM on Instagram to stay updated as we move on to announcing the full-time officer roles.
And I'd also just like to take a moment to say a huge thank you to the whole Raw team who have made this live stream possible, and all the wonderful tech people who do all the technical magic to get us on YouTube this evening. And Raw has been such a huge part of both yours and my own university experience, Seth. What does Raw mean to you?
Well, this might sound like a cop-out answer, but it really does mean everything. This is probably my favourite thing I've done during my time at university. It's allowed us to experience what it's like to be part of a broadcast team, both in the studio and in front of the camera. And it's been an incredible opportunity to meet some amazing people who I know will be great professionals as well as amazing friends in the future. What about yourself?
100%. No, definitely. I think first and foremost, it's not just a society, you know, much like when we were talking to Plan earlier, it's not just about community, but it's also the passion. And as you said, about people going on to do it professionally, we're so lucky to have so many incredibly talented alumni who are now going to do amazing things in the broadcasting, media and journalism world. But I mean, first and foremost, it's the opportunity to get to do live streams and get involved in university and SU culture on occasions such as the Big Decision. But not only that, you know, this is always a very busy month for us, especially kind of going from February into March. We've also had Varsity. We've also been live streaming Battle of the Bands, which are all topics that we're going to touch on later in this programme. And I'm super excited to be able to interview some of the people who have been involved in those big projects, to hear about what it was like working on the radio side of things, and also what it was like to get involved in wider, bigger events in the SU community.
Yes, absolutely. Please stay tuned to this broadcast to hear our thoughts on those major events, as well as the rest of the results tonight.
But it is now time for us to start announcing the all-important full-time officers in your students' union for the year ahead. Full-time officers will be working on your behalf to represent you throughout the next academic year, lobbying and campaigning to the university and more widely in the local community to deliver you the best student experience possible.
First up, we will be announcing the incoming postgraduate vice president, whose primary mission is to support postgraduate students in every aspect of their university life. They will lead on postgraduate academic interests, lobbying for and providing them with the best possible postgraduate education experience at the University of Warwick.
And so I'm now delighted to announce your first full-time officer. The VP for postgraduates for the 2025 to 2026 academic year is Manya Raju.
Thank you. I would like to start off by thanking SU for this elections and to make sure that the whole election ran smoothly. They did an amazing job. Then I would like to thank all my opponents because it was a tough competition. It's a great opportunity. I look forward to working with SU and be the voice of postgrads. Thank you.
Thank you so much for making time to come and sit down with us. So, first and foremost, how has campaign week been?
It's been hectic. I can't wait to go home and sleep.
Yeah, definitely. And have you got any plans for the first thing you're going to do to celebrate your win this evening?
First thing I would do is thank my campaign manager and everyone who supported me.
Amazing.
And I think after that, I'll get down to what I've planned for the future, for the year ahead.
Brilliant. Yeah, so if you could share with us maybe like the top couple or top 3 things, what changes do you really want to make for postgraduate students in the year ahead?
I think firstly I would start off with part-time jobs. I mean, I do understand that there are a lot of part-time jobs available, but when I started my postgrad here, a lot of students reached out to me asking, are there more part-time jobs available? They find it really hard. So I want SU to force uni or make uni offer more part-time jobs for postgrad students that's flexible with their timetable. And then second, I would say would be networking. So we have a lot of networking events that we go to, but I want it to be tailor-made for what we want to do particularly. For example, if I want to get into consultancy, I want university to conduct a survey that puts us in different groups and sends us to networking events that actually align with my career rather than going for a lot of networking events that do not actually align with my career goals. So So I think these two would be my main priority.
No, that's brilliant and sounds really, really helpful. What, just out of interest from campaign week, what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced along the way? Was it just the exhaustion and having to keep on giving out the flyers? Was it difficult question times? What were some of the adversities that you faced?
I think one of the major adversity that I faced, I would say, would be mental health wise. But SU has been so nice, and I got replies to my email within 15 minutes.
Oh, brilliant.
So it's extremely overwhelming with elections, with so many candidates, and a lot of students are busy,
Yeah.
Asking them to just wait and listen to you is also a big task.
Yeah.
But SU has been really helpful with when it comes to well-being and mental health. I had to come down here. I spoke to a bunch of, I think, well-being team here, and they were really helpful with that. So I think, yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for making time to be with us today. And once again, an absolutely massive congratulations for your win. Thank you.
Our next role up for grabs this evening is the position for Vice President for Welfare and Campaigns.
The Vice President for Welfare and Campaigns will be leading on policy and campaigns to improve student welfare at Warwick, covering issues such as mental health, sexual health and accommodation costs. They will work with the Student Union and the university's welfare services to ensure equal opportunities for all students and to run and assist student campaigns, especially on liberation issues.
And with that lovely summary there, it's my turn to open an envelope to announce that your next Vice President for Welfare and Campaigns is, if I can unfold the results, Ollie Chapman.
Wow, I've been so blown away by the support for our campaigner on campus this week. I think the interest shown by students in my main pledges gives me a real mandate to take to the university and show them that students are desperate for this place to be more affordable and accessible. Thank you to every single person that voted for me. I'd like to thank Summer for running such a progressive campaign too. It made this week much easier knowing that either of us would try and make some really radical change at the uni. I'd also like to thank Ellie Smith, Ronnie Wetton, Emily Payne, Raj Hacker, Otto Aldridge, Jacob Pollard, Nick Towson and Aaron Levy for their sustained help throughout this week. I'd like to thank my friends Grace and John for their friendship from my first year to now and for teaching me so much about campaigning over these years. The person I'd like to thank most is my dear, dear friend Ed Swan, who's been there for me, helping with the campaign for every single second, minute and hour that I have. I don't have the words to thank you, mate. I'm aware that only 500 people probably will listen to this and never see it, but I just want to end by saying I love my mum, my dad, my nana, my siblings, all of my family. And lastly, refugees are welcome here. Trans rights are human rights and free Palestine. Thank you.
Congratulations
Thank you
for
very much.
winning your election. Could you give us a candidate's insights into the campaign process this week?
I've been so proud of. I couldn't have done any of it without my campaigns team. It's been so overwhelming. I honestly don't really know what to say, to be honest. I just think you have to try your best. I'd encourage anyone to run in an election like this. Be prepared for how hard it is to get through the week. You need a sustained effort, but you can do it. It's worth it, and it feels like you're really making a real change on campus if you do it properly.
Yeah, well, I'm very glad to hear that. When you assume your role next year, what is your sort of day one priority?
My day one priority is to start work on my main 4 priorities. I would like to get a big A3 list of all the pledges I've made and try to tick through them throughout my time in the role. But the main 4 are obviously, as I've banged on about all week, so sorry to Warwick students, to compile a comprehensive report into rent prices and rises and use it to lobby the university for a better deal, to make the free breakfast club daily, to subsidise bus passes for disadvantaged students. Honestly, I've lost my mind, I don't really know what to say. And the top one as well was, I've just completely lost my mind, I don't know what to say. I'm just so thankful. Yeah, I'm really overwhelmed. I just want to say thank you, basically. That's all I can really finish on, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for your time today. We really appreciate you, giving your speech and sitting down for a few questions. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
A huge congratulations to Ollie. Our next position to announce is the Vice President for Democracy and Development, an important position for weeks like this in the build-up to elections happening on campus. But before that, let's catch up with one of the SU's democracy assistants to hear about what their role is during campaign week.
Hi, hello. I'm Matthew. I'm the head of speech here at RAW, and we're here with one of our very wonderful democracy assistants. Would you mind introducing yourself, sir?
Yeah, so I'm Ben. I'm one of the democracy assistants that are working at the SU this year. Yeah.
Okay, so what's it been like being a democracy assistant?
It's been really fun. So kind of, obviously we've done a lot over the past sort of week. Really getting on the ground in campus, kind of getting to talk to different voters, and, flyering to them, giving them stickers, giving them, gummy bears, giving them tote bags, water bottles, all that sort of stuff, as part of a kind of incentive for voting. And so obviously there was a lot of work that was done before that, working on kind of society elections and that sort of stuff as well. So kind of generally in our role, we kind of, we do a lot of admin work, sort of behind the scenes, really making sure that everything sort of runs as smooth as possible at the SU. And so on top of that, obviously, Vote Week this week has been very sort of hands-on, really making sure that we sort of reach as many students as possible, be that on or off campus.
I mean, I've seen you around campus, you and all your colleagues, and I mean, I'll tell you what, you've definitely been putting in the effort. I've seen so many people come up to you guys, and of course you had the duck out as well.
Yes.
I suppose my next question would be, like, I've asked you what it's been like. How has it been like? Has it been fun? Has it been somewhat stressful? Or
I mean, it's been really fun. It's obviously always really tiring at the end of the day. You never really get a break, I guess, because you always want to be doing something. So like, whether it's something as simple as kind of handing a flyer out on the piazza, or walking to Gibbet Hill dressed in a massive duck costume, and all that sort of stuff.
You walked all the way to Gibbet Hill in a duck costume?
I did. It was a day where the sun was out as well.
Oh my
so
goodness.
It was filled with slight regret, as I was very, very warm by the time that we got there.
All in the name of democracy, though.
Exactly.
Yes,
so it's been really nice, getting to kind of, connect with loads of different people, and sort of, tell them about, what the spring elections are. Because I think a lot of things that a lot of people don't realise every year is that the spring elections, they're very, student-centric. It's all about getting students out there to vote, getting them out there, and making sure that their voice is heard. And the SU is representative of them, and part of that is the work that we do, really making sure that we make them informed of what the SU is kind of about and that sort of stuff.
I mean, is there any like what are the biggest issues that like students have brought up to you this season? Like, have they brought up any like kind of major things they feel about?
I mean, there's a lot of different issues that you can kind of point to. Obviously, look at candidates' manifestos and that sort of stuff. You'll find a wide range of different issues that you can look at. There's stuff like obviously, you look at manifestos. You look at stuff like the all-student votes being cancelled. Stuff. Obviously relating to the SU. But I think a really big one this year has been cost of living crisis, and making sure that campus, is accessible as possible, is affordable as possible. Really making sure that as many people as possible can afford to shop, can afford to sort of pay their rent, to make ends meet, essentially. Because times this isn't just necessarily at Warwick SU.
It's like a nationwide problem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's across. It's across the nation, and it's something that I think Warwick's very passionate about, particularly within the SU. There's a real drive, especially from the FTO candidates this year, as well as a lot of the candidates that have run this year, to make the SU as as affordable as physically possible for students, and making sure that the cost of living crisis that we've had sort of post COVID doesn't hit as much as possible. So I think that's one of the main issues, definitely.
Absolutely. There will be quite a few people, I hope, watching tonight, and many of them might be wanting to get more involved in student politics, and many of them might also want to, dress up as a duck and go to Gibbet Hill. In that case, then, how did you apply? How did you get involved?
So I originally applied through the SU, sort of towards the end of term 1 this year. And I think that was mainly just because, I really wanted to see what it was kind of like behind the scenes and that sort of stuff. I had a real interest, being a politics student myself. I had a sort of inherent interest in, how elections run and that sort of thing. And so getting to really see that firsthand was really, really interesting. And I think that was one of the main things that drove me to the role. And I think even generally, if you have a passion for something like politics, or something like elections, if you've ever gotten involved in any sort of aspect and want to see what it's kind of like behind the curtain as well, then it's a really good role to choose for that. But yeah, because you can get involved in any way. You can be someone who does sort of all the admin at the computer and sets up all the elections on the SU website. You can be someone who sort of just answers queries in the inbox. You can be someone who is more active in sort of flyering and giving out posters and all that sort of stuff. There really is something for everyone. Or you could choose to dress up as a duck in a giant green t-shirt and give out free gummy bears, because that really is just the epitome of democracy. Definitely.
Very nice. Do you have a favourite moment, an individually favourite moment?
That's quite difficult. When I have to think about that, obviously, being the duck was a highlight. I really can't say that wasn't one of my favourite moments of the week. Just getting to, because we had a DJ in the piazza this week.
Oh, you did, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah, just getting to really kind of, be in the duck costume and just dance around and make content for the SU Instagram. We had moments this week where we had the duck doing Hot to Go. We had moments where the duck was just doing the Macarena. Many different dance moves were displayed this week.
How did I miss that? That would have been awesome to see.
So there are so many different things that went on in that duck costume this week. Be that me sort of going up to people and just T-posing in the middle of the piazza. Loads of different things. But I think another highlight for me this week was when, because I was out flyering today in the piazza, and just, I think one of the main things that, one of the funniest things that happened was we got loads of balloons out.
I saw that as well, yeah.
Yeah, we got loads of balloons out for the sort of after party kind of thing, just as voting closed.
Wow.
And I decided, while flying, to really get those last few voters, to put one of the balloons one of the balloon weights in my pocket, and then walk around with that. So I just had I don't know if you imagine a little sort of the leashes that you can get for children and that sort of stuff. Just a little trail of balloons was following me as I was flying for the entire day.
I was wondering what that was about. I was coming out of routes and I just saw the duck over there and I was like, what has gone on there?
Yeah.
I thought you were handing them out. I thought that would have been awesome.
So yeah, that was definitely one of my highlights. It's just getting to walk around and being followed by a little trail of balloons, and it just looked quite insane, really. But I suppose that's that's the epitome of this week, really. It is just kind of it's crazy. You start at 8:30. You're doing this for a lot of the day. It's really, really interesting.
Well, that sounds really cool. If that's not reason enough to become a democracy assistant, I don't know what is. So thank you very much, Ben, for this wonderful interview. And good luck with the rest of the night and the rest of your job.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to Ben for providing some insights into the life of a democracy assistant and some useful information about all of the part-time roles available at the Students' Union. Now it's time to find out who Warwick SU's next Vice President for Democracy and Development will be. The Democracy and Development Officer will be responsible for the functioning of the SU's democracy by helping to initiate and ensure compliance with the SU's democratic processes and policies. Amongst their development responsibilities, they will oversee the running of the SU's commercial operations, development issues including housing and transport, and work on sustainability projects within the Students' Union.
It is now time to announce your new VP for Democracy and Development. And that person will be James Varney.
Firstly, thank you to all my friends and family for your support, including my wonderful fiancé Dorian. Thank you to both Mads and Gabrielle for all the wonderful social media content. And thank you to Sasha, our current VPDD, for such a great election. I'm proud to have run such a positive campaign. My priorities are clear from my manifesto. A more affordable student life, focusing on the buses and the cost of rent. An overhauled, accessible SU democracy, where students are listened to and not overruled. A safe, green and ethical campus, campaigning to end the university's complicity in the genocide in Gaza. I'm honoured to be elected as your next Vice President for Democracy and Development, and I look forward to working with the other officers. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much for being here with us today, James. So, first and foremost, what was your experience like campaign week? Was it exciting? Was it manic? What was it like running a live campaign?
I think pretty much the answer is all of the above. I got up at 9 every day, didn't leave campus till 6 mostly. I think I've spoken every subject to lecture halls and every year. I have great fun making my posters, making my banner that I'm sure many of you will have seen on Live Bridge. It's had its lows, it's had its highs, but I'm just grateful to be able to be elected at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. And what made you want to run for Democracy VP this year? Why is it so important to you to take this post?
I think for me it's because we've had consistently that the SU has maybe not treated its students with the respect that they deserve, and like as having been a part-time officer, I think there were a number of ways in which the SU should improve on that, as well as other host of priorities that I outline in my manifesto. But yeah, I've experienced how the SU can be better, and I think I'm the right person to put that forward.
So, a lot of people will have seen your manifesto and your posters all over campus this week, but just in case anyone can't quite remember, what are going to be your biggest priorities moving forward in the next academic year in this role?
Yes, I think first it's a more affordable student life. Mm-hmm. It's to overhaul SU democracy to make sure it actually works for students, for us, and it's to create a safe, ethical and green campus.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for making the time to be here with us today, and hope you have a lovely evening celebrating.
Thank you very
so much, James.
Thank you.
It is now time to announce the winning education officer who will assume the role for the next academic year.
To summarise, the Vice President for Education will work to ensure that every student's academic experience is as good as possible, including ensuring that all marginalised and mature students receive equal academic opportunities. They will work through the academic rep system to achieve positive change to students' learning experience, and will raise students' academic issues at the highest levels of the university.
Your next Vice President for Education is Ananya Srikumar.
Okay, hi. Hi, I'm Ananya. I want to thank everyone who voted in this election for me. Even if it was just for the hot drink, I would do. I look forward to working towards all the policies on my manifestos, especially prioritizing the stuff on decolonial and anti-racist work that I would like to focus on, especially in the higher education space. If you haven't gone through my manifesto, a big thing that I want to achieve next year is to conduct a primary research report looking into students' racist experiences with racism and microaggressions in the classroom. So look out for that, and if you'd like to be involved in it, let me know. I just also want to thank my campaign team. It's been like a real community effort. It's actually it's actually been really lovely to see how everyone's kind of just like pulled through, and like people that I met even just weeks ago have come out of the woodworks just to like help me with this campaign and to ensure that I'm successful. And it's actually just been the most like lovely feeling. I feel so blessed to have so many wonderful people around me who want to support me and who genuinely just wanted to see me succeed in something that I'm passionate about. And it's just been the most like touching thing ever. Obviously, the first person I want to thank is Adi for making the sickest manifesto. I think the thing that I heard the most was just everyone being like, oh yeah, I voted for you because your manifesto is sick. And like for just helping me run a campaign that had like the cutest, coolest aesthetics with like the best colors. And of course, Izzy, my #1 campaigner, my housemate, my best friend since first year. I love you. Thank you so much for being like just the most supportive person ever. Noor, Casper, Chris, Jimmy, Elise, Noemi, Mariam, Zara, Ash, Joy, Lewis, Manveer, thank you so much. Gemma, thank you for being like the coolest, most artistic, talented banner painter ever. It's patron saint of banner making for real. I love you. Thank you guys so much, all of you, for contributing to the campaign. All the banners that you guys saw around campus I didn't touch any of them, quite frankly, because I was told not to, because I kind of ruined most of them. But yeah, they were my campaign team was amazing. But obviously the main person I've got to thank is Sabur, my campaign manager, who is just literally from the get-go, since I said I wanted to do this, just put their weight behind me and supported me and did all of the crazy organizing, managing stuff that I just couldn't do because of my ADHD. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for voting for me. Yeah. Free Palestine!
Very well done on your election, Ananya, and thank you for joining us for a few questions now. You talked a bit about the campaign in your speech just now, but yeah, how was it? How does it feel now to be at the end of it and to have won?
It feels good. Yeah, of course it feels really good. Honestly, all I'm feeling right now is just like super grateful for all of the people who put their weight behind me. Like genuinely, just all of my friends from first year, everyone that I've been seeing who's just been like, oh yeah, I voted for you. People who like told their friends to vote just because they knew me a couple of years ago. And of course, just my entire campaign team. Like they were amazing. I love them so much. Yeah.
Absolutely. Of course, a lot of hard work to be done next year.
Yeah.
I would love to ask you, what do you think is the most difficult thing facing students in their academic lives?
I think the main thing so I was a decall advocate at the SU before I ran, and I'm still a decall advocate. And I think like the main thing that I experienced in that role was just, for example, the Warwick Medical School has a 12.5% attainment gap, which means that ethnic minority students are 12.5% less likely to attain honors, distinctions, and merits than their white counterparts. So that's just the medical school. We don't even have the data for other departments yet. And I think people don't realize like how much effort and like emotional labor goes into being a person of color in these spaces, and having to like, even being a working class person in these spaces, having to work multiple jobs, like it takes away from your time to actually focus on your education. And just, yeah, so that's I think like a really big thing that students have to face. Being from any marginalized community, just the emotional labor that goes into like being in a space where you're constantly feeling like marginalized or tokenized. Yeah, I think that's a big one.
Yeah, could you tell us a bit more about your first steps to tackle decolonisation as education officer?
For sure. So we currently obviously have the Decol Advocates. Currently what we've been doing is just planning the Liberation Conference and working on like a decol research symposium to spotlight research that's going on in like the decolonizing space at Warwick. But a lot of this stuff is like quite isolated, and it's like it's kind of happening in little bits in different departments, but it's not bridged together. So I want to ensure that it's all bridged together within the university, and also create like a decolonizing the curriculum handbook that tutors and lecturers can like look to for help with their decolonizing practices.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for your time today, and good luck with your term in the year ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Another huge congratulations to Ananya, and thank you, Seth, for that really insightful interview.
The next result to be announced is the Vice President for Sports. But before we announce the result for this role, We have a few minutes to catch up on what happened at Warwick Varsity.
Hi, I'm Rania. I'm a news deputy here at Raw, and I'm here with...
Hi, I'm Sarush. I'm the current head of sport here at Raw.
So before we get started, just give us a quick rundown. What exactly is Varsity for anyone who unfortunately missed it?
So Varsity is the annual sporting fixtures that take place between Warwick and Coventry in term 3, where Warwick win pretty much every sport every year for the past 35 years. And to this year, I believe the final score overall was 31 wins to Warwick, 1 draw and 1 loss. So yeah, a big crushing defeat for Coventry again.
As I say, it was a very well-deserved victory, another big victory for Warwick. Would you say it was a well-deserved one?
Yeah, I mean, some of the scores that Warwick won by, I mean, the one that comes to the top of my head because it was the last one that we covered was women's netball, where I believe they won 70 or 71 to 19. Some of the wins were less grand. I mean, I know, again, the ones I can remember off the top of my head, men's football won 1-0, but I believe there was some tactics and antics by Coventry to try and make it a really tough game, like maybe not having the pitch as suitable as it should have been. But yeah, it was a deserved win. I mean, if you win 31-1 on aggregate, then yeah, I think it's hard to say it's not deserved.
So, very quickly, how was the experience of covering Varsity?
I mean, before actually covering it, it was very stressful. I'm sure this is a feeling that Amelia has been feeling for the past few days, maybe weeks, preparing for all of this. It was very stressful. I mean, obviously with assignments that like everyone else has to do. But actually doing it, again, I suppose the stress did also, it was around when covering Varsity. But at the end of it all, it was really fun. It was like the first and probably maybe the last time I'm going to be doing something like that, where I feel like I'm presenting, well, the coverage of something. So yeah, it was definitely a good feeling at the end.
This is actually going to lead me to our next question. Was this your first time covering Varsity?
Yeah, I mean, last year, as just a deputy, I didn't really do any on-camera stuff. I went to the women's and men's football matches and just did some match reporting on that. But I don't even know if it really got fed back to the head of sport at the time to cover live. But yeah, this was the first time I did something like this. I mean, I suppose, yeah, that you've always got the radio shows like my sports show or my history hour, which is a paid opportunity for history students. I always have to put that in. But yeah, obviously it's different being on camera and interviewing various people that you don't know and having various people that you don't know also commentate and you having to share that experience with them. But it was a very good experience.
About the commentating, I was about to ask, what event did you really enjoy covering?
I would probably have to say, I mean, they were all really good. I mean, like the cheerleading at the start was, you know, a great way to like start off. I mean, it very much felt quite American, which I quite enjoyed. Men's basketball I also really enjoy, especially because of the music they play pre-game. I kind of wish all other sports did that, but I suppose that's also because the music that basketball played is the type of music that I enjoy. But I probably would say the highlight is netball, because I mean they were so cooperative from before. I mean they reached out to the main Raw account, Instagram account, to be like, hey, are you covering Varsity again? Can we provide you commentators? And the commentators, I will shout out Vicky and Katie from Women's Netball for doing a great job. And it just felt nice that we also just had chats about not even just the game, like netball, women's netball, but also like university generally. So it was nice that it felt, and I hope like they feel the same. It was nice that it felt very informal and like not so strict. I think that was one thing I tried to get out of Varsity generally. Like I didn't want it to be that serious. I mean, we are students at the end of the day, as much as we want to try and portray ourselves as really big professional adults.
And actually, and I remember before Varsity got started, on your show you talked about how this is a really good opportunity to explore some sports that you maybe weren't so familiar with. Would you say that's still true?
Yes, I mean, I suppose because my role being inside and getting to pick what sports I covered, I kind of got to pick sports that I kind of knew stuff about. I mean, I know okay amounts to do with basketball. Netball is a sport I particularly actually enjoy playing because I played it in school. But I suppose there's something like cheerleading. I mean, I've never seen it before, except for that touchdown with the American football game. But that was just one performance at half time, whereas this one was like several performances plus a Coventry performance. And that was really interesting. I mean, it was also kind of interesting to talk to them after. Same with dance. Because I did, admittedly, kind of didn't really know what to ask them. But that's because I've never been, I suppose, thinking about or talking about dance or cheerleading. But it was a nice experience, yeah.
Now, take us backstage here. How did it all go behind the scenes? Did everything go okay?
I think everything went okay. I mean, I was not the tech person, but in terms of tech, I shouted them out on LinkedIn specifically, but I'll shout them out again. They are behind here somewhere. They probably don't want me to shout them out, but I'm going to shout them out. I want to shout out Tivia, I want to shout out Riv, and I want to shout out Ryan, who's not here at the moment. But those three were the big three, in my opinion. Especially, I'd probably say especially Tiv, because thanks to Tiv, I was able to find out what sports we can actually cover, because, I mean, there were various issues that we had to deal with that I don't think is necessary to say right now. But Tiv helped us manage around that, and if it weren't for Tiv, I would have been in a deep hole. But obviously, it's a big thanks to everyone. As well as I said thank you to myself on the stream. I should say thank you again to myself. But yeah, tech-wise, at the start of women's netball, it was a bit difficult because there was volleyball going on, and I didn't realise how many people were interested in volleyball, especially at university level. And there was, right around our section, it was really crowded, and it was kind of hard to see at the start and actually string sentences together. But over time, the volleyball ended, and everything else, I think, went really well after that.
So just bring it back into just raw sport more generally. If just say someone wanted to get involved with raw sport, how would you say would be the best way to do that?
Well, I mean, if they have any inquiries, they can always either message the main Raw account on Instagram or the Raw Sport account on Instagram. Obviously, I have access to that, so I can reply to them. Well, they can't really do anything right now in terms of shows, other than guesting on shows, which I would highly recommend. Either my show, the Warwick Sports Show, which is Tuesday 3 to 4, Rani, your show, which is Monday 11 to 12?
12 to 1.
12 to 1, okay.
Close enough.
And Penny's women's football show, which is, I don't know what time, 4?
Thursday 4 to 5.
4 to 5, okay, thank you for that. Or in term 3, when just before term 3 starts, we will have the ability, well, people will have the ability to apply for their own radio show. And it's such a simple process. There's very little red tape. And it's an easy thing to put on your CV. It's a nice hour away from studying, which everyone always wants an excuse to not study. I refuse to believe there's anyone who really wants to study constantly. So just pop into the studio, speak for an hour about whatever you're interested in. I like men's football, you might like, I don't know, cricket, which is fair enough. And yeah, it's just fun. It's something you can put on your CV. It's something, like I say, just to get a break from university, I suppose.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Back to you.
And a huge thank you to our very own wonderful Rania and Sarush for that brilliant and insightful interview all about raw sports and Warwick varsity. Up next, we're just here to confirm that this election cycle, the student body has voted to reopen nominations for the role of Sports VP. This position will most probably be up for re-election in the summer election cycle. However, this result doesn't diminish what an important role the Sports VP is. Seth, what kind of things is the Sports VP in charge of?
Well, it's just a very important role, tackling all sorts of sports that all sorts of people might be interested in. Sport, I think, plays a really important role in the daily lives of students. It's a great way to sort of bolster your mental health. It's a great way to obviously get active and get out there. And sport at Warwick is definitely one of the cornerstones of this university, as we heard from Sarush touting our quite resounding victory the other week in varsity.
Yes, 100%. So once again, to confirm, for the role of Sports VP, the role will be reopened for nominations. But before we move on to announcing the Society's officer this evening, we have another interview with the wonderful Olmo, who'll be interviewing our own head of music, Henry, and Seth, about the brilliant Battle of the Bands that took place last week was the semi-finals?
Last week was the semi-finals.
Last week was the semi-finals, and last night it was the final. So we can't wait to hear more about that.
Over to you, Olmo. Thanks, Amelia. I'm Olmo, news deputy here at Raw. Today I'm here with Seth and Henry to catch up on Raw's coverage of Battle of the Bands. So, for those who don't know, what is Battle of the Bands?
Sure. Battle of the Bands is a annual event put on by the university's band society, which just allows student bands to sort of come together and create some new music, original music of course, and all these bands will come to the different heats they put on over the weeks in term 2. The best bands, who are judged by usually former members of BandSoc, will go on to either the semi-finals or the finals, and then when it comes to that, we go down there with all our gear and record it. It's pretty similar to what we're doing today.
Oh, brilliant. So, who were the winners last night? Was it a close final?
It was a very competitive final last night. It was absolutely incredible to see all 7 bands really go for it and play some just incredible music. The winners last night were instrumental jazz fusion outfit Lab Training, who played an incredibly diverse set that was absolutely eye-opening, I think. Followed by Ferrex in second place, who were an incredible metal band with some amazing vocals. I've never heard anyone sound as much like an animal as the singer for
definitely.
that band. And third place was Toolkit, who won the semi-finals last week. It's not super often that the semi-finalist lands on the podium of the finals, so it was really great to see that happen this time. As that band has some amazing riffs, some really fun instrumentation. They had a trumpet, which we like to see it, and also it was just a really fun set on the whole. So yeah.
Throughout the rest of the competition, were there any other sort of standout performances that spring to mind?
Ooh, that's actually a very tough question. I mean, I would say personally, and this is coming from a place of bias, arguably, but I would say that Twighead had a very strong performance in Heat. I don't remember which heat it was. Was it Heat 5 or 6?
Yes.
But that was a very, very, very strong performance. It's totally killer. We were right up at the front. Of course, we weren't actually recording the Heat, so we were just there to get some content for our Instagram.
Yeah. It was a massive privilege to be in Twighead this year.
Oh, you remember?
Yes, yeah.
We made it to the finals this year. I have competed before last year, but we didn't make it to sort of the second round. But it was a really great opportunity to be able to play last night. We managed to do well enough in our heat that the judges thought we should go through to the next round. And yeah, it was great to be kind of on the other side of the competition.
There's only slight bias there then.
Only a little bit.
More generally, why are events like Battle of the Bands a great way to get involved in Raw and sort of become part of the team?
It's a way to get involved with what I will be biased and say is the best department at the station. I will apologise to the others. We have loads of opportunities going on in the music department, from interviews with industry professionals, those who work in promotions, those who actually work on the performance side as well. And Battle of the Bands is a really great sort of onboarding opportunity. I remember it was the first time I was able to have an experience of doing an interview, and that was just interviewing some of the student bands who were playing every week. And that eventually got moved on to me interviewing some artists who are signed to major labels through some of our amazing contacts at the Student Music Network, who provide us with a lot of opportunities that we're very grateful for.
Yeah, if I could just jump in as well. I think, it's an important thing to remember that, pretty much everyone who gets involved with any of the live stuff we do, whether that's The Big Decision, which is today, Battle of the Bands, or Varsity, pretty much everyone is somewhat green. Do you know, no one has, professional experience having done this before. But I think that it's a really good opportunity to, develop those professional skills. And also, we're liaising with different organisations all the time. So for Varsity, it would be Warwick Sport. For Battle of the Bands, it would be BandSoc. And for Big Decision, it would be the SU. So it's a good opportunity to develop some of those communication skills and organisation skills as well.
Sounds like another brilliant way to get involved in Raw.
Of course.
Thank you so much, both of you, for taking the time to be here. Handing over back over to Amelia.
Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Olmo, for that really insightful interview. I know that Battle of the Bands is always a complete highlight in the Raw calendar, and we get to see so much fresh and exciting talent, which is so exciting. But now we have time to announce the final full-time officer role that we will be announcing this evening, and that is the role of Vice President for Societies, who will represent SU Societies' needs on campus, ensuring they are well equipped and able to function effectively, whilst representing society's interests within university committees.
And it's my great honour to take my second envelope of the evening and announce your successful candidate for Vice President for Societies. The winner for the election for the post of Vice President for Societies is Adam Skrzymovsky.
Thank you for electing me, I guess, to this role. I've bought a piece of paper or I'll forget what to say. So I guess massive thank you to my campaign team, to Max and Maximus, who've been supporting me from the very start. I've been thinking about running for this for well over a year now. I sort of regretted not doing it last year, so at least I've done it now. Thank you for everyone who helped out with my manifesto. Thanks to Ellie for designing the manifesto and post at midnight, the night before the deadline. Amazing thank you to Willow, who joined the campaign team really late, but then did a massive shift to painting all our signs and has done so much over the week. Thank you to the rest of all the candidates in the elections for making this week so fun, so positive, especially for someone like me who hasn't really been involved in SU elections before. And absolute massive thank you to everyone else involved with my campaign. And most importantly, thank you to you. One of the main parts of my campaign has been going out and talking to students, finding out what they think about societies, and I've been trying to do that throughout the campaign, so as it's a big part of what I want to do next year, and it's been absolutely amazing to get such a positive and improve, and it's given me loads of great ideas for what we do next year. Societies are an amazing part of Warwick life. I mean, even today this whole thing is being streamed by Raw. We've got the Boar out there doing reporting. We've had mentions of Bandsock and loads more. You can hear societies are really huge at Warwick, and it would be amazing that I'll be able to contribute towards that next year.
Thank you so much for being here, Adam. First and foremost, also a huge thank you for waiting. You found out a little while ago. I imagine this evening you want to run off and go and celebrate, but you've stuck around with us while we've got through all the other content, so thank you so much.
No worries.
First and foremost, now I know that a lot of people, as you said, you're really passionate about societies. A lot of people will have seen you out and about around campus involved in society stuff. What societies have been a big part of your Warwick Uni life and inspired you to want to go for this role?
So I guess the first big one that was huge for me was Warwick Student Cinema, which is I think the first society I had an exec role on, and one of the reasons I actually wanted to come to Warwick. I saw how unique they was in what they had. Since then, I guess Tech Crew has been absolutely huge in my life, and we've been doing tech for drama societies and lots of other things. The computing society has always been there in the back, and I guess there's more that I can't think of right now.
Yeah. Too many to name, many to name. So, kind of in terms of building off of those experience and the insight you've had, just to reiterate for those, I imagine there's only a few of them, but those few people who haven't seen your posters and manifestos about what are your big aims and priorities for the next academic year for societies?
So I think the biggest one is to reduce the Societies Federation fee even further. We've been seeing some great for societies themselves. I've got lots of ways that I want to improve things for exec members and running of societies, such as currently the resources and stuff available from the SU are pretty much unusable. So I want to revamp all of that and improve lots of communication and make things clearer so people don't constantly have to fight battles with the SU, so to speak, considering that SU is here to support us. So yeah, I've thought about it a lot, lots of things. Yeah.
Obviously, another massive part of being the society's VP is the fact that you will be kind of the face of Societies Fair in Freshers. Are you excited for that? Do you think that Societies Fair is such an important part of the Freshers experience?
Absolutely. I mean, I've seen it in loads of different formats, and it's incredible to see it getting more and more popular every year. As lots of people who don't, for some reason, look through the SU website months before joining Warwick to find out what societies. So for a lot of people, it's really key that they're able to see it there. And I think for people who miss out, one of the things I want to introduce is a second societies fair in term 2, as you hear time and time again from people who would have wanted to join societies but don't think they can if they don't get there in first week of freshers. So we want to expand that and make the experience available to everyone.
No, that sounds really impactful, and like it could even help get more people involved in societies. So now, I guess, now you can look back on it with positivity because you have won the post. What was your highlight of campaign week?
Honestly, just talking to people. It's been crazy how it's terrifying to go up to strangers, talk about societies. But I found literally everyone has been super nice. The people at Warwick are amazing, and everyone's been really happy. Like even if they have been in a rush to go off, it's I haven't experienced any real negativity from anyone, and it's just been so great to talk to people and hear what they have to say about societies, because lots of people are passionate about them.
No, that is brilliant news. And do you have any plans to celebrate? What's your weekend looking like now you're riding on this win?
Well, for a start, I'm performing in the Panto this weekend. You can
very exciting.
Warwick Pantomime Society.
I think I've seen. Is it Ratatouille?
Ratatouille the pantomime.
Who wouldn't want to go and see Ratatouille anyway?
But for tonight, I might be dyeing my hair purple. We don't know about that one. And then going to Euphoria, organised by another society.
Well,
societies all around.
It sounds like a brilliant evening, and thank you so much for being here with us, Adam.
Thank you for having me.
To talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam, for your time there answering some of our questions. I would just like to reiterate, as we near the end of the stream, that we will not be announcing a candidate for president currently due to a procedural irregularity. Who we do have here now, though, is current President Inaya to answer some of our questions by the wonderful Sophia.
And it's going to be a little recreation. If you don't already tune in, you should, 12 to 1 p.m. on a Friday of SUQs, where every week it is me, Inaya and Sophia chatting about everything that is happening in the SU. So we'll head over there now. Oh, hello.
Hello.
Again.
Hello, Anaya. It's been a year since we were here, exactly this place.
It's been a year.
Announced that you had won the presidency.
That is quite crazy.
How has your life been since then? How's your term been as president?
It's been insane. I'll say that in one word. It's been insane, but it's been incredible. I think it's been one of the most exciting and fast-paced and just dizzying times of my life, and it's been absolutely incredible to be with such an incredible team. I must say, like, the fact that the election's gone so well. We surpassed last year, and even the past 6 years. I think this is the highest voter turnout we've ever had. I think it's been an incredible year, just full of a lot of trials and tribulations, but well worth it.
Yes, I mean, I was going to say, from my point of view, despite not being, necessarily involved in campaigns, this big decision night has certainly been one of a kind. But there has been some amazing results, and the people that we've had out here today, it's been amazing to see how passionate they are about the SU.
It's been really good to see.
So what have your personal highlights been of the SU, of your work this past year?
God, of the past 6-ish months, I guess, since I've been president. A lot of cool things. I will say one of my personal favorites was the Safer Warwick campaign, so being able to actually certify our own spaces, as well as we're genuinely doing so much work on the lights now with the university because they're so on board. They fixed and they've added over 300 lights already on campus, and I think they're now looking at Westwood and then Gibbet Hill. So that stuff is already on track. The fact that we're doing a lot of progress with demilitarization as well, so the paper that Anna, Sophie, and I wrote last year when I was welfare and campaigns, that is actually coming to fruition, and we can see the results from it. And being able to actually lead that work and be in so many policy spaces where I can actually add to that has been incredible to see. And yeah, it's so much happening. The fact that we've done a lot of external work as well, I'd say, has been not just new, but I think different the way we've tackled it. So Sasha, Maniba, Elijah, and I have been at RGSU conferences, at NUS events, and we actually helped with the Renters' Rights Bill. So just SUs, getting our SABs together, meeting our own MPs, Zara Sultana, shout out, actually resulted in procedural change and policy change, which has been really, really cool to see. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff happening.
Now, of course, president, it's a heavy title. People think president, they think absolute power. But, you know, we've heard on SUQs, and people, anyone listening, you know, listen to the podcast, you'll see the president, it does face a lot of challenges to get through what you really want to do in your manifesto. What have those been like? What challenges have you faced? And how have you found your way around them?
Oh God, I'm still figuring that out. I'm still halfway through the job. But I'd say a couple glaring issues. Number one, you don't have enough time to do everything. Or almost anything, really. You kind of have to stretch yourself in ways you didn't think you could be stretched to get anything done. So especially when you want to do like a passion project, good luck with that, enjoy. But like you will have enough resource if you ask for it. So I've had to learn how to ask for help this year, like massively. So I'd say that. Also, the obvious, everyone wants different things. You can never please everyone. It's a genuine issue. People will come to you and tell you if you're not fulfilling what they want. And it's really difficult to balance that with sort of what we need to do as a charity, as an organization, and what we can do to obviously, as clearly as possible, do what students want. But it's a fun balancing act, I'll say that much. But no, the term president has a lot of weight, I'd say. It doesn't have absolute power at all. My God. I would be able to do everything if I had absolute power. But no, it's the weight the title carries that is the actual, I think, power behind it.
Now, I think you mentioned Passion Project there, and I think this is a really good time to bring up something that we have been discussing for months now, which is the 60th anniversary. I know you've been working really hard on this.
The hot topic of SUQs.
You guys have been seeing me with like my arms full of like archive binders from like...
Anyone who's seen Anaya around the SU like in the past month, it's most likely she's come up to you and shown you a piece of paper or like a picture of someone, and you're like, whoa!
Did you
but
know
it's
this
been so
society
cool. It has
existed?
been so cool.
No, it was so cool. I was able to actually track our history as a union, which I think a president tried to do in like the early 2000s or like 80, 90 something, like really sort of on the cusp of the millennium, I guess. And the students obviously weren't happy with them, so they came in and burnt it down. Yeah, exactly. So it's a bit of a task trying to piece things together from there. But I've officially we've finally finished the yearbook, and every single society and sports club that contributed, thank you. I love you guys so much. And we'll be seeing them at the 60th launch event. So we're getting hard copies of the book, which has got alumni stories in it. It's got like every society and club's history as much as we could gather. Even stuff that, like, for example, like the War and Raw, you guys didn't even know about your history, that I was like, here you go! This is a cool, fun fact that you can include. I think it's been really, really cool to see. And students are so passionate about, like, oh my god, we're one of the newest, or we're one of the oldest, and, like, you've been so deeply entrenched in the fabric of Warwick, I'd say, that it's finally time, I think, we celebrate that. And the university's got their events, so that's great, but the union deserves something.
So, just jumping off of that, in terms of 60th events, do we have anything in the calendar coming up in term 3?
2nd of May, guys. Book it out. The clubs and societies have already booked it out, so their execs are booked, most of them. If you haven't gone back to me, please do. But no, we'll release tickets for everyone. They're obviously free. You'll have free food, and there'll be society performances stacked throughout the night. So we'll have a couple alumni speakers from the 70s that I've got, who were stabbed in the 70s and like overlooked the Senate House occupation, over the rent increase, and the fact that we didn't have a union building at the time. It's crazy. You know, they used to have, when we didn't have these buildings, we used to be in Roots Social Building. We take over the entire floor, and we'd have 1,000 to 2,000 students there sometimes for weekly meetings. But yeah, I think it's gonna be really, really cool. So yeah, 2nd of May, book it out. It's gonna be like an entire night. We're gonna have free drinks, non-alcoholic, of course. And yeah, it's gonna be really, really fun. Whether you're into opera or, I don't know, tango, we've got both.
Now, the real question is, can you give us a sneak peek on the yearbook? What is the front cover going to be? I heard...
I cannot disclose the front cover.
You cannot disclose?
I cannot release any content from it until you have to be there. It's going to be launched for the first time at the event.
So you can pick up a copy?
You can pick up, yeah, if you come, you have guaranteed yourself a copy of it.
That is very exciting. A piece of Warwick history. Warwick SU history.
Exactly. I'm trying to get like a signing page on it as well, so you guys can...
Oh, that is very cute. That would be so lovely.
I think it'll be really cool. We're also doing an exhibition, actually. I just remembered, sorry. There's a lot going on with the 60th. But no, we'll be doing an exhibition from the 2nd of May onwards for the week after. So that's term 3, week 3. And we'll have pictures from like the old board, like occupations that we've done or campaigns we've run, and like really, really cool archival work. So we'll have that displayed in the atrium throughout that week. So please pop on over and enjoy that. It's a lot of hard work, so thank you to our marketing team, our ops team, and Sasha as well for going through a lot of binders with me.
Now, of course, your campaign last year, it was all about transparency,
Yes.
communication,
Yeah.
and these last 6 months, you've really been working on that.
Yeah.
And we have been directly involved with that.
You have.
You know, what has SUQ's been like for you? You know, why should people be tuning in to our show every Friday?
Not that this
Not
is
an
just
ad,
a
not an ad
self-promo
opportunity. I think it's one of the coolest things I've actually done this year. SUQs has been so much fun, not just because I have lovely hosts, but also because we can talk about stuff that students are finding really challenging. So for example, with the coalition, the university when they stopped talking, and the SU, I was trying really hard to reconcile and stuff like that. We got to talk about it live while it was happening, which I don't think a lot of students know you can talk about things as long as obviously you're not breaching confidentiality. But it's been so cool to, I think, just get to a place where this is what's happening, this is where you can feed in, and it's a live form of doing that. So like students who send in questions as well, you can ask me basically anything, and I'll have to give you an actual answer to it. So this is, I think, a really cool way of holding us to account, whilst making it really fun and kind of like we have our own Spotify playlists in there, and like it's fun, it's cool, and it's actually a really cool way of holding your present to account.
Yeah, I feel like I'm probably biased, but it's been a great project to be involved in. But I feel like in terms of transparency, other big thing that I think so many people forget that I'm going to flag on behalf of SU and Transparency, weekly newsletter.
Oh yes,
That's what
God,
I was going to
I read
say.
that.
Why should people read it?
Guys, please read your emails. That's my only plea. Read your emails. It's fun. We used to do a printed union newsletter every week back in the day. Okay, I can give you that one snapshot of the 60th yearbook. So I scanned in like loads of them. But no, we used to have different titles and fonts throughout the decades. You can see some were really 80s themed. And today that's an email because sustainability, we don't want to like print out 10,000 things and give out to, I have 30k students actually. So now it's an email. Guys, I put everything in there. If there's something happening, if there's free food going, it will be in that email. And if you do not read it, you will not get it. I'm so sorry. But jokes aside though, it is the first way we get a message out to our members. So especially if there's something important happening, if there's something that you can contribute to. So for example, the exam timetable form. PSA, we're really trying to get them released earlier, and I think Muniba's doing actually really well on that. So that form, for example, we promoted that through the weekly newsletter most of the time, and we got almost 1,000 responses, I think, through that. But you know what would be cooler? 10,000 responses! So the university can genuinely just look at that and go, oh my god, yeah, we have to change this. If we have that many students calling for something, we can make whatever we want happen, I think.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and I think there's another tidbit that you could add about the newsletter, which is, of course, our wonderful president here likes to sneak in songs.
Oh, yes!
And you know, little Taylor Swift references sometimes.
Yeah, Taylor was like my go-to the first couple weeks, and then I was like, okay, now I'm going to do anything else. So yeah, also, if you have caught on, I do put in a little song lyric here and there in every single weekly email, just to make sure people are watching and people are actually reading it. So you've seen Tate McRae, you've seen Fall Out Boy, you've seen, obviously, Taylor Swift, best. But no, sometimes it changes depending on what theme. So Super Bowl had a lot of Kendrick Lamar in there. Obviously, not like us. But no, it's a really fun way to, I think, communicate with members. And obviously the next president will have to write those come this autumn. Yeah.
And of course, we're in big decision, and I think our kind of final question should be, what would your advice be to full-time officers handing off to a new full-time officer, your advice for the next president, but also you went through that transition last year with welfare, handing kind of the reins to someone else.
Yeah.
How would you advise people go about that and handling their new role?
That's a great question. I think for me it was easy because Naomi's brilliant, so I was just like, you know what, this is great, here you go, enjoy. No, in general, I think it's really important to trust people, to like be like, you know what, I believe that you're going to carry this on, and I'm going to give you all the information I can, and if it doesn't carry on, that's okay, but I'm going to do my best to trust you with this. Like, it's a really precious thing. So I think it's really important to have, I think, trust in yourself and in the person you're handing over to. But it is a thing of some officers just don't have enough capacity. Like, this year is intense, guys. Like, this is a job. It's a 28K job, but it is an intense job. And sometimes things do slip. But yeah, your job, I think, with the handover, especially if you're a current officer, so my team will know this, be as thorough and as detailed as you want. But make sure you're okay with letting it go, because the role is, it's no longer your role once, you know, the 31st of July comes. That's the end of our terms. That's when it's no longer your role. So I think it's really important for officers to acknowledge that. The next president, I will say, this is an incredible job. It's an incredible opportunity. Do not waste it. Use every single moment you can, every single meeting you have, every single person you speak to. Use that to build a better union. Use that to build a better experience for your students. That should be your only goal. So however you can achieve that, whether it's through being more transparent, making the cost of living crisis a little bit easier on students, even if it's 5%, making sure that students can get home safe, all of those things build up to making the student experience a little bit better, and that is your only objective. So try to stick to that.
Yeah, that's so inspiring.
I was gonna say, I think that was really inspirational.
That's the only thing that gets me through. Yeah, if you're not doing that, your heart won't be in it, really. So no, I suggest keep your heart in it.
Well, thank you from me to both of you for being here. It's always lovely to sit down and have a chat with both of you, to be in the studio with you. And once again, if you like hearing about what happens in the SU, or like hearing us have a chat about the challenges and the wins that have happened that week, please make sure you tune in on a Friday. A massive thank you. Thank you.
Thank you to Anaya for sitting down for a chat with us just now. That is it for another year. You have chosen your next team to head up the student union at the University of Warwick. We wish your new officer team the best of luck over the next academic year and look forward to seeing what they will achieve.
Just before we go, I would like to say an absolutely massive thank you to everyone who has been involved in producing the big decision this evening. From my co-host Seth, to all the interviewers and the wonderful guests, to our backstage runners, and of course our endlessly hard-working tech team who are making the sound happen, who are sorting the lighting, sorting the camera, sorting the graphics. They work so hard to make live streams like this possible. Also, a massive thank you to our friends over at The Boar who have supported us this campaign season and have been putting out some brilliant interviews as well. And I can tell you now, there is definitely more to come from them too. If you don't already, please follow Raw on Instagram at Raw1251am. There you can get the highlights of tonight and also all the other updates regarding what we are up to for the rest of this term and in term 3 this year. The SU Big Decision will be back in 2026. In the meantime, I've been Amelia Coleman, your head of news here at Raw. Thank you so much for watching.